first thing is first. Let's take a look at the car after 10,000 miles. As you can see, my car just hit a little over 10,000 miles. I've had the car for about 4 or 5 months now. And as you can see, this is the interior of the car. It's very, very simple. I did add a few things like this. If you want to check out my other video on all the accessories I got, you can do that. But yeah, it's a very, very simple interior and things like that. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So we're gonna start off with the bad. So some of the bad things that I can tell you about this car so far for having it for about 5 months and 10,000 miles. So one of the bad things I can tell you about the car is that the advertised miles is nowhere near the actual miles. When you go through the seasons, you go through winter, summer, you're gonna be running AC, you're gonna be running heat. You might sometimes speed with the car, and if you go over like 70, 75 miles per hour, you'll lose range a lot quicker than, you know, what's advertised. I have the Model Y Performance. Its estimated EPA range is supposed to be 303 miles. After 5 months of having this car, I saw that the real life range is anywhere between 170 miles to 250 miles, depending on, of course, how you're driving, how fast you're going, how much heat you're using, how much AC you're using, and things like that. So that's one of the first things. The second thing that I'll say is bad is the autopilot is not as good as I thought it would be. It's decent on the highway, right? But it can't be fully trusted at all. You have to be very attentive because unless there is no other cars near you and the lanes are very, very clear and the lines of the lanes are very, very clear, then it's probably going to do a good job. But if the lines are a little bit faded and things like that, it will be very tough for the autopilot to do a great job, and you'll have to be very attentive. That's something to keep in mind. If you guys are thinking that you're going to put it on autopilot and set it and forget it, it's not going to happen, guys. So don't even think about it. So another thing that I consider as bad is that this part right here, the trunk, when you are putting things in that has a little bit of height over here, the back of the trunk over here ends up touching it and it won't be able to close properly. So I do wish that this part right here had a little bit more height to it. Like this part, I wish it would extend a little bit higher, just so things that are a little bit with height can fit without having a tough time closing the trunk. Another part of the car that I would consider bad is that these door handles, I mean, it's easy for me because I know how to open it, but for majority of the people who have not dealt with a Tesla, it is a little difficult to open, and especially at nighttime, it's kind of hard to find the door handles. So as you can see, this area right here tends to get scratched, and especially if you're having ladies with long nails come to the car. As you can see, we've got some scratches right here from ladies trying to open the door and not being able to find the door handle, and they end up scratching this area right here. So as you can see, I've got several scratches right here by the door handles. My door handle, it does not have that because I know how to open the door. But if you're dealing with people who don't know how to open the door, you're going to end up with scratches like this. And it's only been 10,000 miles, but as you can see, we've got several scratches like this all over this area. Now we're going to get into the parts of the car that is the ugly parts, right? The ugly parts of the car is that the paint is not the best. It very easily gets scratched. As you can see, I have a scratch right here. And then one of the main issues with this car is how easily that these rims get curb rashed. As you can see all over my rims, I have a bunch of curb rashes, right? That's only one rim, right? Now we'll go to the next rim. As you can see, I have more curb rash over here, and I get it, it is my fault, but these rims are definitely not the strongest. And it's very easily curb rash, and I do feel like it's very noticeable when it comes to curb rash. So I'll show you the other rims as well. And as you can see, over here, same thing. We've got more curb rash right here. We've got more curb rash right here. And then on top of that, as you can see, when it curb rashes, it's not that it just curb rashes. These wheels are a little bit outside of the rim. So very easily things like this happen, where parts of the tire itself is just like kind of ripping. And then we can see like this actually happened on a rainy day. I did not see the curb at all. I was reversing. And look at this. This looks so bad. So that's one of the major flaws of this car, that it gets very easily curb rashed. Another issue with this car is that you're supposed to rotate the tires, but it's very hard to rotate the tires when the front tires are one size, and then when we go over to the back tires, it is a completely different size. So you are not able to just rotate the tires as you traditionally would with most other cars, because it is different tire sizes. So that makes it really difficult. You'll have to get different sets of tires in order to actually get that rotation going. And then another thing I'll say is that the suspension on this car is super bumpy. What happened with this car is this rim actually hit a pothole really hard, right? It was a bad pothole, don't get me wrong. And not the outside of the rim, but the inside of the rim got bent. And when the inside of the rim got bent, it started losing air and things like that. Yeah, I still haven't got that fixed. So I ended up doing a tire seal on the inside of that tire, and that actually fixed the problem. It's only a temporary solution to a long-term problem, because living in a place like New York City, you're bound to hit a lot of potholes throughout the years, and that means your rims are at a danger of getting bent every time that it hits a pothole. Suspension-wise, it is a very bumpy car. So if you end up going through a cobblestone road or something that has a lot of bumps in the road, trust me, you're going to feel every single bump. You'll be shaking in the car, moving in the car, and anybody in your car is also going to be shaking and moving. Be prepared for the suspension to be a very bumpy one. The suspension is not very comfortable. It does not just absorb a bump. Every bump that you hit, you will feel. Even if it's the slightest of bumps, you'll hear the noise. Besides just hearing the noise, you will feel it in the car. Even if you hit the slightest bump, you will feel every single bump. So be prepared for that. And if you're not ready for that, then this is not the car for you. So far, I've said a lot of negative things about the car, but I don't want you guys to get the wrong impression and think that I hate this car. Let me start telling you the good things about the car. One of the really good things about this car is that it comes with a lot of software updates. Look, I recently did a software upgrade. They are constantly upgrading things in the car, and you can just download them. And for the 5 months that I've had the car, I've been getting plenty of updates with the car, right? So in my 5 months of owning this car, I've probably gotten at least one software update a month. I've gotten 5 software updates since I've gotten the car, right? And it's not that there is major improvements, but it's just little improvements. It's getting better day by day. So another big positive about this car is that the touchscreen is very responsive. It gives me like kind of the feeling of an iPhone, where like as soon as you are touching and whatnot, it's a very quick response. It's not like you're waiting. There's no lag to it. As soon as you touch, it moves. There's no lag to it. There's no slowness to it. And I think that's one of the big things about this software. Very user friendly, very smooth, and there's no lag, there's no glitching to it so far. And mind you, I've only had the car for 10,000 miles, so maybe that will change. I will update you guys once I get to a higher mileage, but so far it has been very good. I do wish that this navigation system was better, but it's it's good enough and it gets the job done. Another really good thing about this car is that you don't actually have to get premium connectivity. You can just use the hotspot of your phone, and it has a lot of these streaming apps. So if you're ever just sitting in the car waiting, hanging out, you can use any of these streaming services. You can also play these little games that they have. You know, it's not like a huge selection of games, and it's not like a super great gaming system or anything like that, but it's sufficient. And then on top of that, you have these little knickknacks in the car, like you have boombox. So if you're sitting in the car and you have someone outside the car, you can play your music where it plays outside. You have the light show where you can make your Tesla do a little show for it. If you want to customize the car the way that this car on the side looks, you can do that, right? And then you have this little piano system. Then you can do romantic mode. You can have access to Sketchpad and things like that, right? And then this is actually one of the funniest features of the car, and I love doing it too when people first get in the car. So if they sit in the car, all of a sudden I'll hit them with that fart noise if they're sitting in the back. And it's very like seat specific. So if someone's sitting in the back right seat, you can put it for that. If someone's sitting in the back left seat, unfortunately you can't do it in the middle, but if someone's sitting on the right side, you can put it over there. You can put it for yourself. You know, things like that. It's just these little simple things that are obviously very gimmicky, but it's a nice feature to have because majority of the cars don't have features like this. So it just makes your car a little bit different than every other car. Another big positive about the car is that charging your car is relatively cheap compared to using gas. And I would say in order to charge your car, it costs you, depending on what time you're charging, it costs you anywhere from $4 to $10 to charge to a full charge, versus if you're in a gas car, it's gonna cost you anywhere from $30 to $150 depending on what kind of car you have and how much gas it takes. That's a huge difference when it comes to prices of fueling your car, and in this case charging your car. So another great positive thing about the car is that I have not had to do any sort of maintenance to the car. There's no oil changes, there's no this and that. The only thing that I've had to pay for was that tire seal for the bent rim. You know, that was partially my fault because I hit the pothole myself. That only cost me about $15. Besides that one thing, I have not had to put $1 out of my pocket to maintain the car. And the great thing is, every night I charge, I basically come out to a full tank every day. And before I get to the last thing, if you guys are enjoying this video, please make sure to smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel for a lot more content on Teslas, also escaping the 9-to-5 life and all the things I do in order to get there, including I drive for Uber and Lyft with this car, hence why I've gotten to 10,000 miles already in about 5 months. Now we get to my favorite thing about this car. The best part of this car is that this car is faster than 95% of cars on the road. So if you're comparing it to any other car, unless it's like a very you know, like a sports car or like a very high-end car, which ends up being faster. So majority of the time, you are the fastest car on the road, man. Like, you have no idea. And the acceleration for it is just so like thrilling. It kind of feels like a roller coaster almost. You never really get over how quick the car accelerates. So I'm gonna do a demonstration for you real quick. So yeah, I'm just gonna test out the acceleration for you guys just so you can see. We have some straight road right here. And like, you cannot beat that acceleration, man. Like, majority of cars are not going to be able to compete with your car in terms of acceleration, you know? I'll do it once again. You ready? Look, you know what? I'm gonna go to a full stop just so you can see the full acceleration. And in no time, we got to about like 70, 80 miles, like just in a matter of seconds. You know, the 0 to 60 on this car is 3.5 seconds, and it is very obvious. And real life use, like, you are dusting majority of cars on the road. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, make sure you comment it in the comments. And of course, if you're not subscribed, what are you really doing? Go and subscribe to my channel. I really hope this video helped you get a better idea of what to expect from the car. This is the Model Y Performance, so it might be slightly different for the Model Y Long Range, but give or take, it might be a lot of the same cases with the Model Y Long Range as well. So what's the verdict? If I had to do it all over again, would I still get this car? More than likely, yes, I would get this car, but the one thing that I would probably change is that I would not get the 21-inch Uber turbine wheels. I wish Tesla had the option to get the performance version of the Model Y, except with the 19-inch regular wheels that come with the Long Range, because I do feel that with those wheels, it will probably be a little bit more comfortable and just less likely that the rims are gonna get scratched and things like that. And you can always put hubcaps on it to make it look decent. It doesn't have to look super stock. Besides that, I love this car very much. It has been very good to me. I've enjoyed it very much, and I would highly recommend it to anybody else. And I would highly recommend it to anybody who is looking to get a Tesla Model Y. Don't hesitate, guys. It is a very, very good car. It's a very enjoyable car, and I don't see myself getting bored of this car anytime soon. But alright guys, I'm outie. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you. Come again, okay? Nah, but seriously, until next time, Escape the Matrix out.